this is
It's an
like,
honor.
in a weird way, is like a goals, bro. You know,
Yeah.
it's like not in the sense of like, oh my god, goals. In the sense of like, if you commit to something, like buying a bottle of booze every week, then eventually, after a certain number of weeks, you have a bar. This is just, this is progression, documented.
Bro.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Unhappy Hour. Today we've got a very special guest. This is one of the sleepiest men I know. Spends a lot of his time doing Brazilian Jujitsu, otherwise known as rolling around with dudes. Please give a very warm welcome, very warm, sad welcome to David Lee. Oh, what the fuck, Dave? It's too much, bro. It's too much. Grab your mic. But holy shit, man! This is the first guest ever to bring the spirit onto the bar, and like I know I'm acting completely surprised, but obviously Dave was just standing right there. So I did know that he was gonna bring this, but still, it doesn't undercut how fucking nice it is, bro. Like holy shit, this is the Glenlivet 15, man. We're only going to have one drink of this, and I'm going to save it for very special guests after today's podcast, okay? I want you to know that.
Sounds good.
This has got a very special place on the bar. Should I leave it in the box, you think?
Up to you, dude. You do whatever you want with it.
I'll work something around, but we'll give it a very special place. I actually can't wait to try it. I actually don't think I've tried that. And for someone that's drunk most of the whiskeys in Moe's, that is saying something. So,
Glenlivet's a classic, man. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Is that like a favorite of yours? Is that the
Nah, I like the Darwini, but I couldn't find it today.
Darwini? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know these. You probably know more about whiskey than me.
I really don't.
Let's cheers because Dave requested the whiskey sour. So whoa. Give me my eye contact, dog.
Bad, yeah. It's hard. Don't know.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still got it. The
No,
foam's
foam's
not
good.
quite there, but and to be honest, like the art on top of the foam is even worse. I feel like
It tastes good, man.
it tastes. That's the important thing is and it's also like a special recipe. So this is not just like your classic whiskey sour recipe, and that's nothing to do with the fact that I didn't have the right stuff for it. It is a very special, I guess. I will just say S.AD, but it's like an Adam twist. So instead of using sugar syrup, we used agave syrup, which is like, I'm pretty sure that's what they use to make tequila. They use like agave, and then also on top of that, instead of lemon juice, we use lime juice, which is kind of pretty much interchangeable. And the last little piece for the whiskey sour, I mean, not completely uncommon, but we used a bourbon whiskey instead. The Woodford Reserve, which actually I didn't put back on the bar because I'm fucking slacking. But beyond that, yeah. Like, so I'll probably put something up about the recipe and stuff of this if you guys want to give it a try at home. But beyond that, I think it's been way too long, Dave. Like I feel like we haven't caught up in, because I think I mentioned it briefly, but we lived together for it must have been almost a year, right, at Parnell.
Yeah, it was a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, and I feel like since you moved to the shore, it's just been fucking radio silence from your phone.
I have been missing in action.
Yeah, missing in action, bro. Everyone moves to the shore, and then all of a sudden, life gets better. And you know? So tell me, bro, what have you been up to?
Ah, man, just to be honest, it's been work from home and training and a little bit of social life with people within the North Shore.
Yeah.
Not to sound exclusive, but like nobody's driving over the bridge, buddy.
Yeah, well, fucking yeah. Now that you don't have to, I suppose. Like,
yeah.
That's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I'm also not desperately rushing to drive over the shore.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, especially when I was living out east, like it was literally opposite sides of Auckland. It became like a little bit of a mare, which for anyone else out there, like, is not that far in terms of like the city, but like just, I think we've got this luxury of being such a small community in like Auckland and New Zealand in general that like it even going 20k or whatever just feels like the other side of the world. I think that's kind of funny. I feel like maybe that's also a good. I mean, there's plenty of ways we could segue into shit, but you mentioned that you've been training a bit, and I kind of did say something about you training. So let's get into a beautiful little segment we like to call Depressing Questions.
Depressing Questions.
With our first, I think, legitimately depressed get.
It's been a journey.
You're looking happier though, so I will say that. So maybe we can break into that a little bit later. But yeah, I want to talk about it because I feel like it's becoming a lot more common, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing. And I could make jokes about, I could make gay jokes till the cows come home, but I think it's it would be doing a disservice to the sport and everything that it's done for your mental health, and also even just like putting New Zealand on the map in a way with even like Izzy, even though I guess that's probably more kickboxing-esque. But I'll let you talk about it, man. I'm curious. Like, how's your training going? How long have you been doing it for? Give us a breakdown.
So I've been training since I'd say like 2019, I think. Honestly, I don't even remember. It's not that long, like in the grand scheme of things, but being under my coach Joe, so shout out to him.
Shout out Joe. We'll probably plug him in the description.
Yeah. So he's my Brazilian Jujitsu coach. And train about I try to train like at least 4 times a week. Yeah. So
that's not a small amount to train.
No, it's not.
Don't like undercut that, bro. I remember like you when I knew you that you were doing only 3 things pretty much: sleeping, working, and training. And by the sounds of things, nothing's changed.
Nothing has really changed. Yeah, like once you get to know me, it's kind of like, oh, actually, this takes a lot of time out of your life.
Especially if you want to be as good as you. Because like I will like say, as someone that's seen your shit, like you're good at what you do.
In the grand scheme of things, I am bottom of the pile, but
bro, don't fucking shit. I'm gonna put some clip. I'll put a clip up here of Dave's rolling, and we can watch him roll while we talk, because see some of the headlocks and shit that it's crazy.
It's
I can't
not
even
that
imagine.
good.
It's not that
good. But been training. Yeah, it's been a while. Like, it depends where you go. It's all relative. If I go overseas, like when I went to Korea, they were like, oh, well, like, this guy's pretty good. But, like, if I go to, say, Australia, Melbourne, they'll be like, oh, this guy's pretty middle of the pack, or, like, near the bottom.
Are you saying when you travel, like, you try and find gyms to train in?
Yeah. Like, I will be in Melbourne and when I go to Korea.
Yeah, you're going to Melbourne, you were saying.
Yeah, next week, yeah.
What's the motivation? I mean, I kind of know the motivation, but...
Actually, my coworker moved there. And
man.
One of my university friends moved there. And all for career changes. And, man, Melbourne just looks better in terms of career, job.
No, we're going to cut that out. What do you fucking mean better, bro? Not good enough for you anymore.
Yeah. But you know what? It doesn't have that New Zealand culture. You can't beat that, bro.
No, but like, full like, jokes aside, like, I understand why anyone would want to move. Especially because it's so close and so easy to make that transition. And, like... just like for like, you get double the money if you wanted to live there. The community's way bigger. Social life would be probably a little bit better. I feel like that's the one thing about Auckland, is it gets a little repetitive if you stay here too long.
I think it's the culture. Like, not gonna lie, we're pretty like 20 minutes. Like, nah, bro.
20 minutes pretty far, bro.
Like, yeah, you can come over to my place, but
I'm curious to circle back there. So how did you get into jiu-jitsu?
That's right. Yeah. So I finished high school and I had really average grades, so I could only take the courses at university I wanted to, like barely. And I was like, damn, like I don't want to go to university. I was originally planning to go to vet school. I got accepted, but I had to like do these like weird, go to like Palmerston North and like do like weird vet hours, and I was
There's like only one place you can do it at.
Yeah.
Shit.
And I was like, you know what? That's just a little bit too commitment for someone as confused as I am.
For someone that loves his dog as much as you. It's like, chance of spending time in the vet is inevitable. We're trying to save some dogs. Or something.
I was like, you know what? I'm taking a gap year. Let me sort my life out. Let me work at a pizza store.
Pizza? I almost forgot, bro. Fucking this guy and Ant, the Ryobu I had on. They used to work at Sal's Pizza together. Shout out Sal's.
Honestly,
I don't know if you do want to shout it out. We can cut that if you don't want to. But
yeah, we can shout it out.
yeah,
It's
shout out Sal's. Man.
yeah, man, it's been a journey, and
So you were doing jiu-jitsu when you were at Sal's, or were you?
So I started right when a little bit after I started sales, like a couple months after.
You get into customer service and you're like, man, I need to learn how to fight people.
Actually, it was more like, oh damn, like I need to like do something with my life.
Right. Damn. Okay.
Like find a hobby. And it actually mostly came from insecurity. Being a small guy, being socially kind of awkward. It was like, oh, I want to do something which I'm passionate about, meet new people, meet a community. That's kind of how I started. And yeah, when I started, I was really small, actually. I think I was like 55 kgs. I was a really small dude in high school, dude.
That's crazy. We're actually like 53 kgs is... Because you're like the same height as me, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'd say, like,
yeah, and I'm like 68, nearing 70 nowadays.
Same weight,
so,
bro.
Yeah. So yeah, when I first joined my jiu-jitsu club, my coach was like, I don't think this kid's gonna survive. He's like a stick. Like, and I was constantly injured. Like, I broke my collarbone like 2 times training when I first started.
Wow, is that just like while you're getting used to the moves or something like that?
Pretty much, like, I'll land badly and my shoulder would break. Like, I was just like a thin spaghetti stick.
So yeah, no, like literally there was like probably no muscle and shit.
Yeah, no
like,
muscle.
to keep everything.
Nothing.
That's crazy to see you now.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when you go from, that's like literally like 12 kgs or something. How much do you say you went from 53?
53.
53.
Yeah.
Fuck. So,
Yeah, I was really small, like.
so that's like 15 kgs.
Dude, I'm pretty sure there's videos of me, like.
Bro, that's fucked
I'm a
up.
stick.
15 kgs though.
Yeah.
That's like impressive.
I was tiny. Yeah, if you like, all my high school friends are like, whoa, like when they see me, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
As anyone would.
yeah.
You literally gained another quarter of yourself.
To be honest, like compared to Will Chisholm,
Yeah,
that man is a
no one
menace.
can compare to Will Chisholm.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, he does.
Shout out! He's actually got a new fitness company. So if you're looking
Yeah.
for if you're looking to get bigger, then hit him up. Hit him up.
Yeah.
I'll plug it down in the description. I can't remember the title yet. I'm pretty sure he's actually not public yet, but when he is, I'll link the website and stuff.
Yeah. Just to add on, he's actually a genius. Like in terms of he doesn't speak a lot about gymming and whatnot, but when I talk to him for like a little bit, he kind of drops gems of knowledge. Like,
Yeah, he's definitely like real like soft spoken, I reckon, which is like not to say that he's not a social person, but like the depth behind like what he says. He's like really, I think, a really introspective, like thinks quite carefully about things, and he genuinely cares about people as well, which I think is like super important quality in friends. So yeah, shout out the big man. Shout out the big man.
yeah, lots of love his way. He's
100%.
He's kind of that Kiwi culture, like.
He is, yeah,
Yeah,
true.
we'll do
He
it
is,
our way.
even though he's like not Kiwi officially. He's, he's that Kiwi adopted culture. You know, I like to think we rubbed
He's
off
with
on
us
him,
though.
maybe.
He sticks with us.
Yeah, hard out, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're talking about you and in your jiu-jitsu and you sort of like how it like helped you. So you started getting crazy big, and then I guess to go from that to competing and stuff, like that must be insane.
Yeah, like honestly, it all comes from insecurity. Just
What do you
having
mean
to
when you
prove,
say that?
having
When you
to
say-
prove yourself, man. Like I think it's like a masculine thing. You just like,
Yeah.
something about competition, something about putting yourself out there, stepping into the world of like the unknown. It's not just jiu-jitsu. It's like kind of like everywhere, right? Like new job, everything. You got to take a risk.
Yeah.
That's kind of what drove me. And the best thing about jiu-jitsu, which I like, is it doesn't lie to you, dude. It's just like, man, if you're bad, you just get beaten up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
like you can't really lie.
I think what I find the most interesting about jiu-jitsu is that it is one of the only fighting situations where you can outthink your opponent. Like it's not just about brute strength. That there's like components of both. But you could go up against like someone that trains like, for example, I feel like I've been gymming for a long time, but if as soon as we get into like any sort of physical altercation, you will fucking wipe the floor with me every time. And it's like, and obviously we're like similar size now, so I guess there's like something to that. But even before, when I was like weighing 80 kgs or some shit, like
we did have some scraps in the
exactly.
flat.
Not, like we used to have like our own like jiu-jitsu matches.
And
some of them were like agreed upon. Other times Dave would just pounce.
That has stopped.
But it is like super interesting though, like that. I just I never had put that much thought into fighting before that, and then the realization that it doesn't really matter like how big you are or how strong you are. It really matters like how technical you are, especially in that sport.
Yeah, it is quite humbling.
Yeah.
Just
100%.
to add on to that, I think if I had to talk about jiu-jitsu and other martial arts and why I chose jiu-jitsu specifically, because the gym I train at is actually an MMA gym, so you get to train everything if you want to.
Right.
But jiu-jitsu is the one martial art. This was stolen from my coach, and it kind of gave me a light bulb moment. It's the one martial art where it's not based on instinctive reactive speed or like quick decision making. Jiu-jitsu is methodical. You can slow it down, and it's much more you get a lot more benefit out of the troubleshooting skills you learn out of it.
Right.
If that makes sense, like you've experienced a little bit out of it. You can slow things down, and even under pressure, you're not getting knocked out. You can still breathe, relax, and troubleshoot your way out of the puzzle that your opponent is giving you.
Right.
And it's applicable to jiu-jitsu, and it's applicable to life as well. Like, it's a problem, you can troubleshoot it, there's a way out of it. There's all these tools. You just be given a couple tools, and you should be able to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, I've always liked that one quote that the only way that you can guarantee a loss is by giving up. And that kind of like sort of speaks to what you're saying, right? Is that so in jiu-jitsu, you're faced with constant problems, but the only way that you can lose like every time is if you don't try and troubleshoot those problems. If you don't try and like solve for the things that come at you, because you're right, in life there is always going to be fucking problems.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how people get separated, right? There's the people that succumb to those problems, and there's the people that overcome them.
It's really evident in competition. People give up when they're faced with a problem they believe is too difficult for them first upon initial contact. Like if an opponent is stronger than you and you give up, you've kind of already lost. Like, but actually over time, your opponent will fatigue and they'll get slower, and the puzzle becomes much more solvable. And based on my experience, it's opponents that really believe in their troubleshooting skills that are the most difficult to beat down, because it's just like you're hammering them with absolutely like just hammering them down with like amazing technique, like putting them in really bad positions, throwing submissions at them, and you're almost catching them, but they're just like, I'm not going to give up because I'm going to like get my way out of this. And the gas tank gets low, I get fatigued, he gets fatigued, but that self-belief just makes everything so difficult, eh?
I think was also crazy, if depending on what clip we put up or depending on what clip Dave sends us, but he was showing me a video of him versing some other guy, and I was so surprised at how long like David had this guy's back for before he tapped. That was like super not inspiring is maybe not the right word, but just eye-opening to me that like you'd be in that position and not think, oh shit, I'm fucked.
That guy didn't give up, dude.
He basically was like bordering on a headlock for like literally 5 minutes. Just keeps like squirming and trying to get out of it. And I was like, damn, that is like legitimate struggle. And Dave did win in the end, obviously, because like shout out the GOAT. But you know, like you can't deny that you have to have a certain spirit to do that sport and to like stick it out in competition like that.
Yeah, the guys, man, people in New Zealand, like the competition scene for the under 68, under 66 kilogram at the intermediate level, it's getting good, man. Like the wrestling is getting a lot better. People are so fast. You can just tell, like, I think a couple of years back, there used to be like people used to be able to tell like, oh, these guys are like hobbyists. They're just by looking at their bodies. But everyone that steps up nowadays, like, you're just like, damn, this guy is big, or like he's athletic, and you're like, this guy's a man. Yeah, this guy's a beast. Like he just physically looks like a beast. But yeah, rolling around every day, man. Like competitions getting better. You got to keep up. You got to keep up. You got to keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, you definitely do, man. You
Yeah.
definitely do. All right. Should we move on to a different topic, do you think?
Yeah, lovely.
You ready for this one? I think. I mean, we kind of did touch on, like, in a good way, like your mental health and stuff. But I think that we could do a full circle to even before you started jiu-jitsu, if you wanted to talk about it. Like, 100% up to you. But
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the audience out there could potentially resonate with, or that it's not always so cut and dry that you have a built-in good relationship with your parents. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that have a situation in that regard. And personally, for someone like me, I don't fully understand from a personal perspective, but I've learned a lot from watching you and how you deal with those sort of problems. And I just wondered if you want to talk about it. You don't have to, because we can cut it.
No, we can talk about it. Yeah. We can talk about it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that probably the best place to start then is from my understanding of the situation. So, when I first sort of met David, he was living with Ant because he'd just been kicked out of home, was my understanding. Is that, like, would you say a fair description?
Yeah.
And like that's like a crazy. I mean, obviously, you're like, I think, lucky to have found Ant, because he's the man's got a heart of gold. You know, like that, of all the people you could get shacked up with, he's a good person to live with, and I have many times. But just getting to that point where you felt that you couldn't live at home anymore and you wanted to move on, I feel like I'd be interested to hear about that side of things.
Yeah, this is more of like an Asian. I'd say it's like an Asian culture thing. Asian, like, it's really common in Asian families to really care about career path, like what kind of job you're gonna get, going to university, getting good grades, going to church. Maybe not church, but like just being like a really good kid is really important in Asian culture. And I just felt like, man, it's too much. I'm not going to uni. I'm doing it my own way. I'm getting shouted at every day.
Because you're choosing to, like, carve your own
it's
path.
just, bro, like, I love my dad, but like just getting beaten down every day was just like,
Are we talking like mentally beaten down, right?
Yeah, mentally beaten down. And being in an environment which really isn't beneficial for you. And yeah, one day he was just like, and I was like, yep. And then
I will move on.
Phoned up Ant, was like, yo, you all goods if we sort something out? And that, as you said, that man's a saint.
That man is a saint, yeah.
He will never say no.
Mother Tarant.
Yeah. There is capacity. We'll make it work somehow.
That is all. Yeah, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
That, well, not awesome to hear that, like, the full story, obviously, but awesome to hear that you have, like, had friends that you could reach out to and stuff. And I guess reaching that point with your father, where you sort of almost took it upon yourself to be like, I'm not going to keep pretending to live this life that you want for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pave my own path.
Yep.
And you don't want me to live here anymore. And I think that it's best that we go. It's like almost a very mature response to the situation that you had presented for you, because I'm sure that wasn't how he had anticipated you reacting.
Nah, and I always see TikToks and whatnot of people, Asian guys or girls or whatever, complaining about, like, man, I'm in a family household where, like, I have to keep giving money to my parents, or like they keep expecting me to do a degree I don't want. Yeah. And I'm just like, you gotta.
Yeah, it's not all good.
It's not all good, dude. You gotta do something for yourself. You gotta cut the line. You gotta stand up for yourself. And it's not characteristic of me, but like, I don't think I'm a confrontational guy, but
I think you have your moments.
Yeah, I have my moments.
I think you can be. You definitely reach what I've learned about you is you reach a threshold.
Yeah, I reach a threshold.
You've got like a very like it is like a wide wick, if you will.
Yeah.
But that fuse does eventually get to the point where you're like, nah, I'm not gonna fuck.
The fuse got to me, and it was just like, I don't. Can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
I don't fuck with this no more.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't fuck with this no more later. Like,
Yeah,
it's my way now. Like, I'm gonna sort out life my way, because the advice I'm getting, it ain't working. Like, imagine you're getting like, you get a life coach. He keeps giving you this advice, and you're trusting this process, and everything's turning to shit. You're like, at that point, like, when are you gonna take agency and be like, nah, I need to start changing things up. This ain't working.
Yeah, well, true. You do have to take some ownership as well. I think that's a super important part of growing up, right? It's okay. We can take a quick cut here, and then we'll move on to some other bit. Welcome back. Or we're taking a very brief break. The only thing you may have noticed has changed is we didn't actually coordinate today, but Dave was wearing his S.AD collection, so shout out the big sponsor, S.AD collection. Shameless plug there. So comfortable. So breathable.
It's my favorite shirt in the wardrobe.
Is it actually?
Couldn't ask for anything
I read
better.
that shit. Nice. Good shit, man. Yeah, fuck yeah. I love that. And also, the other thing that we've got going on for us that's very special is I did mention we were going to be trying the very nice whiskey that Dave's bought. So in order to keep it as pure as possible, I added just a smidge of ice, which, some people will still hate on me for, but we're not putting Coke in this shit, We're keeping it real, keeping it classy. And cheers, Dave. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
That's good shit. How does that taste to you?
Yeah, that's good.
Bro, even smelling it before, I was like getting a little too much. Anyways, I don't have a problem, guys. Just ignore that. Like,
we did crack a joke that I would never have an alcohol collection, but I'll add to it. I'm not an alcoholic.
This is an alcoholic behavior. I didn't make the whole show about a bar because I like to drink. It's all about social and people. Okay, I got no legs to stand on, guys. I like cocktails. What can I say, man? What can I say? Shoot me. And I feel like I've given you a new appreciation for booze, because the Dave I knew wouldn't fucking know what that is, let alone be appreciating it.
It's been a journey, honestly. Like, the alcohol takes a long time to learn, and I'm still learning about it. And to see your collection grow and adding to it is
this is
an
like
honor.
In a weird way is like a goals, bro. It's like not in the sense of like, oh my god, goals, in the sense of like, if you commit to something like buying a bottle of booze every week, then eventually, after a certain number of weeks, you have a bar. This is just, this is progression. Documented.
Bro, we talked about this, but alcohol is meant to be shared.
Yes.
And
it is. Yeah. I agree.
Not everyone is going to buy one bottle to drink for the whole week. Like, that's kind of like...
Yeah.
That's pretty hoary, not going to lie.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say hoary. I would say, like, I used to be the guy that I'd buy a bottle and that would be, like, what I was going to drink that night, And now I feel privileged, but also, like, I've come a long way in my drinking journey to be able to have these bottles and for them to mostly be full. You know what I mean? Like,
you share them.
Of course, I only drink with friends now. I stopped drinking alone because that's some sad ass shit.
I'm fucking proud of you, dude.
It's called progress, baby.
I'm gonna make it public. I've stopped vaping.
Actually,
I'm so proud.
Shout out, dog. Yo.
Welcome
to the 12-step program. We started you 12
We're getting better. Depressing questions.
We only vape on the weekends now. We out here. Oh fuck! I love that.
But the alcohol.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a bit.
You think it's
we've gone too far to stop now.
Yeah. Oh, we can't. Right? No, there's no way. Like, the show is about this now. It's ingrained in the culture.
There's finesse to drinking alcohol. There's no finesse to vaping.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, you can't really be getting like, oh, this is a very nice vintage of grape fucking grape vape liquid. You know what I mean?
You
like,
puff, bro.
Have you tried this Nick Salt from fucking 22? It's pretty good. Like, it's not the same shit, man. Honestly, vaping just makes me want to smoke ciggies. Shout out ciggies.
Yo. Marble Golds.
I'm getting again the cut from my producer. Yeah, we're not. I will accept a B&H Classic sponsorship, but that's the last you'll hear of it from me. Anyways, moving candidly along. I think that we kind of left off and the depressing questions. And I feel like you sort of wrapped up your last topic, so I want to get into something that I've always personally been very curious about, and that is David has the ability to literally sleep anywhere, and has the worst sleep schedule of anyone I know. Like, straight up, this guy, when I was living with him, he would be like waking up at 4 p.m. and like just awake in the middle of the night. But then you would think that you're waking up at 4 a.m. like at least you're like alert from 4 a.m. until 8 p.m. This dude would be taking naps at like fucking dinner time. Like wake up at 4, be asleep by 6:30. Just like anywhere as well, like couches, other people's beds, the floor. Just like walking on Dave sleeping in the laundry and shit. Like it's just some wild shit, man. So please do dive into one. Are you okay? I think that's the best question.
Bro, it's a gift from God,
It's
honestly.
a gift from God. Is it?
Everyone else should be jealous. This is... Imagine just being able to be like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Sleep.
You must kill it on planes, bro.
You wake up and you're like,
just
yo, the
out
flight's
like a
done.
light.
Yo, that was easy as. Like, alcohol, sleep, boom.
Long car rides. This guy's fucking. He's got
I'm
it
gone.
sussed.
Don't put me in...
He's got it sussed.
Don't put me in shotgun. I'm sleeping.
He's the reason they have those like ads on the side of the road. Like,
Yeah,
if you're feeling a little
straight
sleepy, pull over.
Yeah,
Straight
I'm not
up.
giving you any company.
But literally, bro, I just don't understand how you do it. Like from a real perspective. Like we were even talking about this before about how you've now cycled out of your just sleeping literally like 16 hours a day into a much, I would say, different but equally as unhealthy approach of sleeping every 2 days.
With work, you have to work. Don't skip work. What's happened
With
is
work.
I start work in the morning. Let's say I've had a good sleep. I start work in the morning.
A good sleep. What's a good sleep? Just for the audience so they know. Is that another 18 hours?
I've gone through my hibernation phase. Yeah.
He slept all weekend. He's ready fresh on Monday. Okay.
Start
Anyway,
work.
sorry, continue.
9:30.
9:30. Okay. Yeah. Following.
And do your work day. 5 o'clock finish. Take a quick nap. 5 o'clock. 6:30. 6 o'clock. Training starts at 6:30. Arrive at training 6:45. Coach yells at me because I'm late. I tell him I took a nap.
No one is surprised. Not a single
No, actually, this is really like, I'm not joking. He
Yeah.
does get mad when I'm late, and I always tell him it's a nap.
But yeah, that's the thing about Dave is like you know why he's late. It's like his car broke down or some shit.
It's because I took a nap.
Yeah, he's like he might have even driven there early. He just took a nap in the car before he got in or some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, continue. So you get a normal night's sleep. 9 to 5 you work. That's pretty classic shit. You take an afternoon nap. Maybe that's like a thing in Spain, siesta, whatever.
Exactly.
But let's move on past training. So
Yeah, speed it up. Finish training. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to sleep. I realized like 8 hours of sleeping. That's not nap. I can't really sleep 8 hours. I have to sleep either like 18 hours or like 2 hours. That's just how my body's built, bro. Like,
do you see how that's unhealthy?
so I'm like, I just won't sleep. I wake up. Not wake up. I stay the night. Whatever, work, do whatever I want to do. 9 a.m. clock in, 5 o'clock, and then I hibernate for the next day.
Do you see how that sounds like a drug problem?
I have thought about.
Do you see how while you're talking about this, and you're describing a cocaine addict's life cycle?
Luckily, with my job, software engineering, like it's flexible. Like you can take naps.
To clarify, he's not on anything, which is what makes this even more wild. You know, there's so many cases out there where you're like, if it could be that, it probably is that because of how common drug use is. But this guy, I can wholeheartedly tell you, he's just.
I could take a nap right now.
he could, and it's just completely pure him. I don't know. I can't explain it to anyone out there that suffers from the same thing, or maybe you can diagnose this. Please do. Please drop him some help.
In all seriously, like I reckon it's because I was like so light and underdeveloped as a high school kid. Like I was like 50 kgs.
Yeah.
At like 18. I'm like smaller than like a North Korean child at that point.
That's controversial as fuck.
Sorry, my bad.
Have you not seen the movie that what is it? Not The Dictator. It's the fuck. I can't remember the name of it. But basically, it's like The Interview. It's called The Interview.
Yeah.
Where fucking Seth Rogen and I can't even remember his name, but Seth Rogen and one of his friends go to North Korea, and it's all like these like super filled supermarkets, like all artificial bullshit. Please tell me that's not what you're basing like North Korea impressions off. No, okay.
No, I think North Koreans are having it pretty hard. But anyways. Like,
okay,
bro,
no,
like,
fair. No, I agree. I mean, obviously,
there's some crimes there, dude. Like,
there's some
if you read
crimes there.
into it, yeah.
Yeah,
Kim Jong-un's not a nice guy.
No, for sure. Have you seen the shit about like the kids like eating rats as like their only meal all day and shit?
Yeah.
That is insane to me, man. Yeah, there's like a lot. There's like that chick that came out of there that is
I read
started
that
doing
book.
interviews.
Yeah. But she's kind of gone like I heard she's kind of gone like a little bit.
And fair enough as well. Like going through all that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that is.
It's gonna mess you up
pretty hard
to some extent.
But
I don't actually know what you're talking about. To be fair,
going back, so I was like this underdeveloped kid. So by the time school finished, I was so tired. Like, bro, it was like a boot camp every day, like 9 a.m. to like 3 o'clock. Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't actually sound bad as an adult. Like, that sounds amazing. But back then, when I was like an underdeveloped kid, like that was like a boot camp. So I would come back home and just
you're
nap.
talking about just like going to school.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, you're describing possibly the easiest time in anyone's life.
But relative, like in my physical body back then.
You have no legs to stand on here, Dave.
Anyways, I got back home.
She's
it was
shaking her
tiring. I had to sleep to recover from an exhausting battle.
Yeah.
I'd take a nap, wake up 9 o'clock, do a little bit of homework, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And the boot camp starts again.
You mean life. Bro, you crack me the fuck up sometimes the way you talk about this shit. Like, it's like, I've been through some shit in my life, some trials.
It's about connecting to your non-physical self, and sleeping is a method of that.
Yeah.
I prefer the non-physical world.
But I mean, like, from like a less like joking standpoint, like there is obviously like some more underlying reasons. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's like correlation between that and like mental health, right? Like,
yeah, we have talked about this, like when we lived together.
Yeah.
Adam has been a great, kind of like not counselor, but a friend.
I think it's just someone that like I see what you're going through or were going through, I hope, and also being someone that's done a lot of therapy myself. Like I feel like I have to pass that on to you, especially. And yeah, we were really good friends, and I almost saw you a little bit like I don't take this the wrong way, but like a little brother. Like, and you kind of matured a lot since then as well, of course. But at that time, like it was easy for me to see where you were going on because I'd done a lot of that same like wrong path.
I know you're taking this on a serious note, but like this man, like he introduced me to like alcohol and like all the amazing things in life, and I appreciated it. But
some
also
real older brother shit.
I got the fear of it too. Like I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to be like him.
I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, I don't want to go that far, bro. That's kind of like that's kind of whack.
I don't want to start a podcast centered around my alcohol problem. All right,
like, I don't want an alcohol like collection, bro. Like I'll add to it, but
you try and get sentimental. You try and get sentimental.
Love you, bro.
All of a sudden, nah, but I understand what you mean, bro. Like as much as we can like say I'm always a good role model. There's definitely I'm not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. There's some ups and downs and shit you should learn from and shit you should learn in spite of me. You know, but
no, like I do appreciate it, and hard like the mental side of things. It's been a journey, and I feel like it's just a continuous thing. Like I've been reading books. I still keep reading books. I still go through this discovery of myself, and every new relationship, every new job, every new change in my life is something I'm discovering new about myself. And
that's powerful shit. I feel like there is no end game, you know. Like people, that's what I think was one of the biggest things when I was depressed. Is I was like, okay, I'm not feeling right now, and I want to get to that feeling of right. But that's so subjective, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is no happy ending per se. Not to say that in like negative sense, I think that sounds so cliche. I'm just thinking it, but like it is literally you have to start doing shit for yourself and enjoying the process of doing that shit. It's less about why am I not happy, because I think maybe this is a controversial take, but I think that happiness is a lie. I feel like you should be striving not to be happy, but to be content and satisfied with your life, which could also be interpreted as happy, I suppose, depending on your definition. But I think that the version of happy that's projected in like media doesn't really lean into that, how you get there. It's all just this bullshit artificial ending, which is not so cut and dry, right?
Yeah, I agree with the fact that the happiness media portrays is totally different to what real, genuine happiness is. Real happiness is bonding with people you love and doing things and understanding why you do things.
Yeah.
And really doing it for the purpose of living life and going through the journey, as you said. It's cliche, yes. But
but I feel like everything cliche comes from it being like having some truth to it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, which is sad to say, obviously, because the way even our culture looks at cliche things is just like, because it sounds good and it's like you caring about like yourself. all of a sudden it's bullshit and you should ignore it.
We've had late night talks, like and
for sure.
Man, if you don't have a friend that can do this, or like if you don't have anyone to talk to, like, man, this is gonna sound like a dick, you're missing out. Like go look for someone, take agency, go seek, go try and make friends, go try and talk to people. Like there's so much value in talking to someone about these things, because when I talked to you, like the most valuable thing I realized was, bro, I'm not alone.
100%, man.
Yeah.
And that's the message that we actually can pass like out there as well. Like, I doubt that there's a lot of depressed people watching this, but on the off chance that there is, fucking flick me a message, write something in the comments. Like, I get so few comments that I won't be able to ignore it, and I will definitely talk to you. Like I have no shame about that. And I'm happy to help wherever I can. Obviously, if this gets to a point where I've got millions of subscribers, I'll only be able to do what I can do. But in this period of my life, that's something that I deeply care about. Beyond all of this, social media shit. Like, if you have an issue and you want to reach out, please do. And maybe we'll even put some links in the description. I think that would be something that the least that we can do. I think that's powerful stuff, though.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, the sleeping thing, like, bro, I've got it under control. Like, I reckon like 18 hours is not bad. Like,
18, yeah.
I feel refreshed.
You feel refreshed, do you? Fucking hell, bro.
Yeah, like,
you are a mess,
guys. You're missing out. It's a gift. I've heard 24, but that's monumental.
You're a fucking worry, Dave. I think we had one more question as well to touch on, Dream. I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head. Oh, yes. Yeah, maybe this is going to bring everything full circle into context, but I just think we should just talk about what you do for a day job. Maybe that might be a leading factor in our previous discussion.
Honestly, what I reckon is worth bringing up is... So, I used to talk to Adam about the mental health things and whatnot, but Adam has actually also been kind of this amazing older brother in looking up to someone and seeing a career path which I thought was not possible. Both of us don't have a university degree.
Fuck uni.
Yeah. So I dropped out of university and I worked in a contact center, like, for insurance. And Adam, you also did the same. And I was like, and you kind of worked your way up or worked your way to a different position. And I was like, damn, this guy did it. Like,
it's doable, bro. I think the skills you learn in customer service, like, definitely translate into contact centers. And then in a contact center, what you learn more about business as you get inside of one, like, especially businesses in New Zealand, maybe in particular, just because of how small they are in particular. you get exposed to all of those people that get hired because of their university degrees. And especially for me, in the team I was in when I started, half the team had, finance degrees or whatever. And realizing that that actual entry-level job that we were all doing is nothing that not anyone could do. The only reason that they favor a university degree is because they see it as like a commitment to that person being able to show up on time, the basics of that kind of stuff, and also a fundamental, like, you're not dumb, basically, is the gist of it. And there's so many people that don't have degrees that have that shit. That base criteria is so small, and what you need to know to do work is so different to what you get taught in school anywhere, at least from what I understand. My job is so niche that it didn't exist as a degree fucking 5 years ago when I would have been studying. Like, now it is a thing, but back in the day you would have had to do statistics or something to get into data analytics. But you had to self-teach anyway once you got that first opportunity. So once getting that first opportunity, I'm not going to lie, is probably the hardest part. But if you're in customer service, don't underrate your people skills, because that's so core, and that's what a lot of these people don't have, because they just have done the university thing and not worked because their parents have helped or whatever the situation may be. And they just don't have that real life skill that you can translate into actually making a career.
I also noticed that you read a lot of books, and for me personally, like, the way I achieved getting to where I want to be was through thinking and manifesting the thoughts I have into reality. And I feel like you did the same, like on an abstract level. And that's kind of how I got into my career as a software engineer. And I did computer science at university, dropped out, but like,
maybe we should talk about that. Like, what compelled you to drop out in particular?
Yeah, lots of reasons. Yeah, that's a good question. The reason why I really dropped out was it was too difficult on a honest level. I'm not academically smart. I am actually. I'm academically.
It's a harsh
way. I was academically good. Like, I was getting A's, but once COVID hit, the environment changed, and I couldn't adapt. I couldn't continue the drive to university in a completely different environment where everything's online. My lecturer was literally posting YouTube videos as lectures. Like, come on.
It's like a wild era for sure.
Yeah,
do you think it's like a lot more self-driven? You think possibly as part of it, or?
Yeah, like at that age and at that time in my life, I needed a little bit more hand-holding.
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like, at least from my perspective, you were already you were already working for Tower at the time when you were, so you already had this in.
Yeah.
And like the way I saw it is you were trying to do this degree at the same time. And like, this is going to sound contradictory to what you just said, because I feel like you always like to put yourself down, and like you're really humble person is what I'm trying to say. But he had this opportunity. He was working in the call center already, and he was building apps. Well, I don't know if you call it apps, but you were automating processes inside of that call center, and you got noticed by the software development team. So to call yourself like not smart enough for uni, I think is just an unfair characterization of what was going on. What really was happening, at least from my perspective, was you were faced with this. I could keep learning to complete this degree, which is completely arbitrary, which I would then use to get into the industry that I've already pigeonholed myself into.
Yeah.
And then you made a judgment call to take a full-time paid position over a liability, which is your university, when knowing that it would be the same outcome at the end of the day. Like, it's super hard to be motivated when you're already doing what you wanted to do. Like that's the way at least I look at it.
That's a really good way to put it. I just kind of stopped being motivated for uni once I realized
that you don't need it. Yeah, exactly.
I could solve real world problems that this company faces, or I could work on some leak code question that just some other uni students done before more efficiently, whatever, like solves nothing. Just an examiner's going to look at it.
Exactly.
It's going to be like, yeah, this looks right, ticks it off. And that's my 50 hours of my life, just awarded with a tick. That's
such a good point. There's so many businesses right now that don't have good processes in place that could be fixed with coding solutions. And then the whole concept of university is to give you already solved problems that you're not going to be able to come up with the best solution for. But you're so right. Like that's why I have a job right now. Is because I'm not revolutionizing reporting by any means, but I am revolutionizing some reporting in this very niche area of the company I work for. You know, that's all that matters, right?
The biggest shortfall of software developers is understanding the business process and how you really drive value. And I think once I kind of started to hit that home and be like, this is how I provide value for the business as a software engineer. I mean, geez, like the numbers are undeniable. Like this is how much money I'm bringing in. Like, it's not some weird like, oh, I'm doing this cloud computing, whatever. It's like, actually, this is a problem I'm solving for you because I understand your business, the user needs.
Yeah, it is crazy to be on the inside track and like see that shit, right? Seeing the legitimate impact you have on a business.
Yeah, I think everyone should. A lot of some of my software engineers on my team also agree as well. They think everyone should at least experience a job in a call center once in their life, or some kind of customer facing role.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. Whether it be a call center, whether it be hospitality, whether it be retail, I think all of those things have a place in just learning to deal with people is such a core skill that gets so discounted in the education like system right now, but is such a core thing that all companies require. And there's no such thing as a leader that doesn't know how to deal with people. Yeah. There's no such thing as a successful sales rep that doesn't know how to deal with people. It's just so core to so many roles, like even marketing, everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, there is much more customer facing, dealing with people, understanding people roles than there is like backroom. Like I guess the only real example of that would be like a back end developer or something like that. But
even as a back end developer,
then there's like of course,
everything should be traced back, especially in this time and age. Everything should be traced back to the customer. Even insurance, man. Insurance is like, people think it's like this really whatever. It should be a whatever in your life. Like that's the whole point of it, right? You buy it and then you forget about it. And if I'm developing a product for that, that's what I should think about. Like, customers shouldn't be hammered with notifications or like whatever. If I'm notifying a customer, it should be for a pretty valid reason. Like, hey, a storm's coming up. Make sure you claim for whatever you can. Like, don't hammer them about promotions.
Isn't that like directly against what you should be doing? Dave, the nicest insurance rep. Just like, hey man, you sure you don't want to claim double that?
Oh man, this is going on a different topic. But man, when I was working on the call center, I was just like, I wasn't good for the business. I was good for the customer.
It's a fucking liability.
I was just like, hope no one from my workspace sees this, but it's just like,
I think you balance.
Boom, your claim's all goods, man.
You at least balanced it out. I feel like you reduced work, but you also gave away too much money. So things, maybe you're a net neutral for the business.
Things get complicated when you start asking too many questions. Make it simple. Make it simple for the customer. Things have changed. You know what? Let's redact that.
I think that's probably a good point to take a break before Dave loses his job.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my job.
We'll come back to some more free talk. All right. See you soon, guys. All right, we'll cut back in, fresh drink, and like we're sitting in the sort of free talk section. We're going to be talking for a little bit, to be honest. We got a little sidetracked, but it is what it happens. It happens when you're catching up for the first time in a while. But what we were literally just talking about was Dave's just come back from Korea. And I say just come back, came back in January, and we were talking about like some cultural different shit. And he was talking about specifically what it was like to train in New Zealand. Versus like his experience, like even just introducing himself in Korea in the gyms. And it's like, I feel like you have to see, the people need to know, like, cause it's weird. Yeah.
So like, just for context, like Western culture.
So maybe weird is the wrong terminology.
It's very normal to introduce yourself when you enter a room of unknown people. So like if we're at a party, it'd be like, oh, yo, hey, I'm David. Nice to meet you. Like I'm Adam's friend.
Of course.
How do you guys know each other? Like, blah blah blah, and you do the small talk and whatever.
would you not prefer that over some guy that you bring to the party is standing in the corner just looking ominous? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you want to know
let's
who.
break the ice, just uncomfy ass.
Especially in like a combat sports scenario, like you want to have like some
We're
like
about to get skin
we're
on skin.
humans, not just like we're just about to fuck each other up. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
but maybe that's what it's about. I don't know. Anyways, continue. I digress.
In Korea, so like in Jiu-Jitsu, it's very normal to like go around the class before class starts, handshake everyone, introduce yourself, be like, hey, I'm David, nice to meet you. Especially if it's your first time. So went to Korea, did that. So I was like introducing myself, like, oh, white belt guy, like blue belt guy, like white belt, like purple belt, whatever. And then there's a chick, and I'm like, hey, like, what's up, blue belt? And she's like, oh, hey. And then like the coach is like, oh, what the heck? Are you guys like dating? Like, what's going on? Like, why are you guys talking?
Is it because she was a higher belt than you, or is it because she was a woman?
Nah, she was like same rank, like.
So she was same rank. So the only reason is because she was female, and that's why they're like, he's like, are you into her?
Yeah. It was kind of like, oh, like, are you introducing yourself to like her for like a date opportunity, that kind of thing?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, I was taken aback. I was like,
that's wild, bro.
oh, whoa, like, what the heck? Like, oh, nah, this is like normal in like
in New Zealand.
In New Zealand,
or
like,
in any western part of the world. Yeah.
Luckily the coach, like, he took a minute break and he thought about it, and he came back to me and he was like, you know what, like, I trained overseas, and you're actually right that you guys do this overseas. Did
he say anything to the rest of the class, or does this chick now just think you were trying to get with her?
I hope he explained.
I mean, is that not wild though, that the simple action of saying hello to someone in Korea is interpreted as like a sexual advance?
Bro, Korea's like a different. I spoke about Ant with this, but like apparently
our Korean expert
inviting other people over to your place if it's a female, like even in a group setting as well, like one-on-one, is like kind of apparently it's like a sexual advance.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing. So, and to clarify, all of Korea, that's the same situation.
Well, according to the few friends I made in Korea. That's kind of crazy. So you're saying that, say I have a Korean girlfriend hypothetically.
Yeah. And then she is seeing a guy back at her place. That would be not just like the white or like Western side of things where you're like, oh, that's just like they could just be friends, kind of weird, but just friends. It's like way more likely
apparently, yeah, in Korea. Like, apparently it's not. Apparently it's like they see it as a so like in New Zealand, we have friends that are like non-binary, female, whatever. Come over to my house, all good. We'll have a good time. We'll watch YouTube. We'll like grab food. Korea, nah. That's like people are gonna be like, oh, they're up to something. Like they might be like clapping cheeks. Or
yeah, there's like very few like there. I feel like it's way more common here, but there's still like I have like very few exclusive female friends where I would like just hang out with them late at night back at my place or some shit. You know, like you have to be like really close for that to be even chill here, I would say.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But like apparently in Korea, it's like whoa, like something's going on kind of deal. But
interesting.
Yeah, and like another point of fact that I mentioned a little bit was people from Korea came to New Zealand, and they came to our gym. And so this Korean girl came over, and we took a photo, like gym photo, and she like put her arm around my coach's like hand, like what is it like when you do that kind of like
what, like this?
Yeah. Like for us, our culture, that's like.
That's kind of
bro, that's like
how
dating.
How is that more fucking that makes zero sense. Like it's literally like a handshake is fucked up, but all of a sudden you've known him for fucking a week, and now you can basically be like piggyback rides and shit. Like I don't know, like it's maybe not quite that level, but you know what I mean.
Then I looked back on Instagram and I was like, oh my god, that's so normal in Korea. Like people, like all the girls do this to like the coaches. Like,
do you think it's the coach specifically? Is it like a
it's a coach.
Because there's like a different relationship there, right? 100%. Yeah, it's like an established, like they're just
like, this is my teacher kind of vibe, but also like you know, like
yeah.
For
I know
us,
what you
it's
mean.
like, what the heck?
Well, there's just too many stories in Western culture of like the teacher ending up being like the dodgy dude.
Yeah, so
it's the dodgy chick or whatever.
Bro, my coach was like, yo, that was weird as like, should I upload? Like, and then like she reposted it, and he's like, well, I guess I have to like repost.
So
it.
the
like,
coach thought it was weird.
Yeah, hard. He was like, what the heck was that? Like, why'd you put an arm around my hand?
But that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Because they had never met before.
That was like the first time, yeah.
That's so wild. What? Who does that? This, I don't understand culture, man.
But yeah, like something
Classic
we think,
white person things.
something we think is normal, like is so like out of the gate, other places.
So out of touch, bro. Just so out of touch. But also, like, what is the situation in Korea? I know that in certain parts of Asia, getting tattoos is seen as like a gang thing, right? Is that right?
Yeah, like I'm not. I look Korean. I am not Korean. Like when I go to Korea, like people like I was shopping there, right? And they're like, yeah, and they're like explaining things, and I'm like, yeah, like I can speak like Korean, okay, and they think like, oh, this Korean's like okay, and then like it only got to like when I actually paid for it, and like it was my New Zealand card. They're like, oh, bro, like that explains that you're like a foreigner.
Right.
But yeah, tattoos. Yeah, taboo. Like,
That's so like even like in Korea, because I think it's like more common in Korea than it is in like Japan, for example, right?
it's illegal in Korea, I'm pretty sure.
Illegal tattoo?
Yeah, it's illegal.
Really?
Like to actually tattoo someone is legal.
Fuck. So that's completely different to what I thought. So that means that if you got a tattoo here and you went back to Korea, that it wouldn't be chill. Because you are planning on getting one, right?
I'm planning on getting a kiritui on my left forearm. So
What's a kiritui?
Kiri means like skin, and then tuhi means art, I think. So
Okay.
skin art. So it's like a Maori tattoo. So usually.
So is it basically the equivalent of like me? Like, obviously it's different, but like you're literally saying like you're getting tattoo and Maori tattooed on you. Is that?
No, it's not the words Maori.
No, but I know
the Maori style
it's
tattoo art.
You're getting the symbol of tattoo tattooed on you. And what is that? Just to clarify.
So it's based off tamoko.
Okay,
which
so there is more depth to it.
sacred Maori tattoos.
Right.
And they're supposed to represent your whakapapa, your family, your lineage, where your mariahs and
Right.
kind of like your story and who you're connected with, important people in your life. And you can replicate the same thing with kirituhi. And that's kind of what I'm going for. So there is a certain, pretty much the reason why I'm getting it is I went to Korea and I was like, bro, I'm not Korean. Like, and I need to kind of.
Right. It's like almost like not identity crisis, but you're like, I feel more in touch with my New Zealand history than Korean, even though that's, from an outside perspective, perhaps what people would see first. You're trying to show that you're more than your
exactly.
genes, right?
Like people look at me in Korean, they're like, oh, this guy's Korean, and they just like expect all these cultural things that come with Korean, and it's like this will be a way to kind of upon initial contact I'll be like, oh, this guy's kind of not quite.
He's a criminal in Korea.
he's a drug addict. It's like, something's wrong with this guy. Don't keep the kids close to him.
Literally illegal for this guy to walk the streets. But no, I do. That's I do understand 100% what you mean. Like maybe for the opposite reasons though, because I feel like despite being born in New Zealand, I don't connect as much maybe with New Zealand as I feel like I should, and I don't have some rich lineage to lean back on either. Like when we're talking about my European heritage of we invaded India, and,
but there's
there's not a lot of things I can look back and be like, damn, I'm really proud of what my ancestors achieved.
Commonwealth, up the Commonwealth.
But that's left me in this like sort of place of like I don't know what my identity is. I'm trying to like form my own path. But I think it's really cool that you've almost embraced so much New Zealand culture and accepted it as. I feel like it resonated more with you, right?
Yeah, it's like I'll never say I'm like a full native person, but like I'm a Kiwi, you're a Kiwi, like
100%.
We're born, like we're raised here, like we get the culture, and I think it's more to do with like what's in your heart. Like we're proud to be. Yeah, this is where we're from. This is our country. Like
Yeah, I agree. I think that I'm really.
You go overseas, you're gonna be like.
I feel grateful.
They do things differently.
Maybe that's part of it. I feel like I'm not as well traveled as you, because I haven't seen like the Korean culture, for example, or even the Asian culture. So for me, I've compared, like New Zealand culture to little close islands. This may seem like I'm going quite far, but like Fiji for New Zealand is not really far. So I've seen like, Fiji, Vanuatu, that kind of stuff. And to me, I was like, that didn't resonate with me, but also it didn't make me resonate more with my home because of that. Because I guess in the media you see like, I feel like New York really like some part of that touched me deep. And then also Japan, I think for some reason I've always been super ingrained. Like it's been super ingrained to me that I think that I would fit in there. So I think that without seeing that shit, I can't really make a fair.
If you went to Europe and there's people that look like you and they expect you to act a certain way because of how you look, but deep down
you're not like I see that.
You'd be like, whoa, like like that's dude, like that's not who I am. Like that's kind of the reaction I got. And Korean culture is like, man, Korean culture is big nowadays, like K-pop, all this stuff. It's dominating, and it's just like.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Like the pop culture is definitely like pushing through in a way that it hasn't been able to in the past. Yeah. And I feel like as well, even all that being said, like you definitely did still have, you had like your Kiwi influence, but you definitely had enough Korean influence from your parents and whatnot to appreciate both sides of the coin. So then to make that conscious choice to be like, I'm not that,
Yeah.
It's like, it's true. Like it is truly feels like a choice, like you were presented with, right? Like you had two forces and you could have gone either way.
I could have moved to Korea, lived there and be like, I'm a Korean now, but I'm like,
and people would have accepted that as well, so like, I think that is even more powerful to make that conscious choice yourself,
Actually, there's like a word for, in Korean for Koreans that live overseas. It's called kyopo. And what it means is like, kind of like like overseas brother or like overseas blood relative.
Right.
And they're like, he's still a Korean, or like they're still a Korean, but they're just living in a different island. So like, but we're still part of the same team. Right. But I'm like, yeah, but
it depends.
But
right?
nah, like we're not actually part of the same team. I'm gonna cut the line. Like, I'm part of Team New Zealand.
And do you think that is also partially because like you were definitely like raised here for most of your life as well? Do you think it'd be different if you were maybe 18 and moved from Korea to New Zealand? Then you're like, what is it? Do you say what was the word? Kupo.
Yeah.
Definitely butchered that.
Look like it. Act like understand the culture. Can integrate into it, but like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like imagine if you went to like, I reckon you could like integrate into like the UK, right?
I don't know. I feel like there's less. I feel, to be honest, and like, no hate to the white people out there, but I just feel like we just don't have any culture. You know what I mean? Like, integrate into what culture? Integrate into like I don't know. Maybe it's so ingrained that I just wouldn't even notice. It's like that excessive like nature definitely comes from somewhere.
Yeah,
I feel like that probably is a little bit widespread, but beyond that, like I don't feel like there's any deep rooted stuff that I can, when I look back at my, like as I was saying before, when I look back at my history, there's nothing that I'm like supremely proud or not proud of. It's just kind of shit happened. I mean, there's definitely stuff that as a whole culturally white people did wrong for sure, but specifically I'm talking about my ancestors. Like there's nothing that I look back and I'm like, it just kind of just happened,
I mean, like on the point of like depressing questions, people like to make their lives a lot more interesting than it is.
Yeah,
and
I see that.
There's not that much special about my story and your story. Like, they're unique and whatever, but like,
do you think that though? Like, I think that it's our stories, and like, I think to be fair, every person has something unique to say.
Yeah,
it's just
but
not everyone. But not everyone can deliver it in a unique way. Like that's part of the thing, right? Like it's not just. It's not just whether your stories are interesting. It's whether you can tell your stories in a way that people give a shit about it, or can relate to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
But if you look holistically at like both of our lives, like there's plenty of people that have changed countries, and there's plenty of people that have alcohol problems. But is there plenty of people that talk about it?
Exactly.
To 25 people on the internet. I don't think so.
On a podcast.
I don't think so. And I feel like on that note, it's probably a good time for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, in terms of all of that, I feel like maybe I'll pass it to you in terms of what you want to plug. You got anything you want to plug?
Plug out to my Jiu Jitsu gym, Jiu Jitsu. shot
Nice.
for all my teammates, my
We'll
coach.
tag that shit below, 100%.
Shout out to my friends, yourself, and people that have helped me out in my life. Yeah. Shout out to certain people that have helped me in my career for work. You know who you are. It'd be kind of awkward to plug them in this podcast. Like
That's like your Oscars like acceptance speech. I want to thank my manager.
like you straight up helped me get to where I am. Like,
Mom, I love you.
I appreciate it. Shout out to all our ex-flatmates. Like,
Yeah, respect.
It's a journey.
Shout out to the previous guests on this podcast.
Exactly.
Pretty much. And also from me, I would be remiss if I didn't plug our big sponsor, S.AD Collection. Shout out S.AD Collection, the best clothing label in Auckland, New Zealand. No cap. So please go check us out, www.sadcollection.com, s.ad.collection, all platforms. And then if you want to check out the clips or you want to see me wake up at 4 a.m. and run and hate my life, then that's s.ad.ventures on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. So, yep, that's pretty much a wrap. Much love, team.
That's a wrap.
Catch you in the next one.